Hey everyone, CWD Music Reviews here. I am CWD, and this is going to be a music review of the new Big Sean album, I Decided. Big Sean is a rapper from Detroit, and this is his latest full-length album. I first caught on to this guy around way back when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West dropped, and he had a feature on the track See Me Now, a bonus track. And I didn't particularly like him at all. Big Sean to me sounded particularly corny. His voice is just not that pleasant or charismatic in my opinion. I don't think Big Sean for the most part was able to carry a guest feature for me. So I had no interest in going into full-length albums of his with that in mind. But I decided to give Big Sean a chance, and I gotta say, Big Sean, he has gotten worse. Oh my god, it's unbelievable. This album's about 14 tracks in length, it's 50 minutes, so it's not an unbearable length by hip-hop standards. But what instantly catches my ear as to why I'm not gonna like this album at all, it ends up being Big Sean himself. My issue with this project is Big Sean has gone from a guy that, while yeah, I didn't particularly care for him, he still had a certain sound, a certain type of lyrical presence, and in terms of flow, he definitely was capable at it. Especially on tracks like Bounce Back, To an Extent No Favors, and Voices in My Head, Stick to the Plan, where he definitely could deliver like speedy bars and all these like triplet type flows. He definitely is capable of that to me. While, yeah, maybe subjectively he's not really a rapper I like, I still acknowledged and respected that he had a sound to him. But instantly when I turn this album on, he has gone from this guy that is corny but average for the most part, and now he's warped himself into everybody else. Drake, Travis Scott, to an extent Migos, maybe a little bit of Young Thug and Future. He sounds like every mainstream trap rapper. Tracks like Jump Out the Window or Owe Me, it's as if he's using the same vocal inflection throughout the course of the album, and even probably using some of his ghostwriters as well. Take the track Jump Out the Window, where there's a line, I believe, where he says, "When we were playing Mario Kart, I realized you were the princess because you played as the princess." There's 3 of them. Well, the track Owe Me, where he sounds really possessive over this girl he used to date or is dating or whatever, and he sounds particularly narcissistic. Or the track Sacrifices, where he talks about how he sacrificed so much. People don't understand how much Big Sean has sacrificed. But throughout the course of the track, he doesn't say any of his actual sacrifices. Just free time, the club life, and all this other stuff, and I still feel no sympathy towards anything he's talking about. It's just like track after track after track after the first quarter of the album, Big Sean proves to me that he has no identity of his own, and he relies on the production, the flow, and even the lyrical nuances of people that are outselling him at the moment. Like Drake, like Migos, probably Travis Scott as well. As far as the production goes though, no real complaints really. I don't particularly care for how kind of commercial Jump Out the Window and Bigger Than Me are. Especially Jump Out the Window, where DJ Mustard does his typical one piano chord over and over and over thing in the background over some trap instrumentals. That's the thing about this album. There's not really a lot to say about the instrumentals since they all sound particularly the same. You're getting these thick bass, you're getting the twittering hi-hat that's pretty much reminiscent of trap. Occasionally you're getting some nuances from Metro Boomin, like on the track Sacrifices, where there's like this catchy little harpsichord piano hybrid thing that I particularly like, and it serves its purpose. It's catchy, it's particularly hard-hitting in a way, and at times it's particularly spacey as well, like on Halfway Off the Balcony. But none of the beats here save a good chunk of what Big Sean on the album is doing. Even the features will pretty much outshine what Big Sean is doing for the most part, like the track No Favors, which he sounds particularly capable on the track, but when Eminem comes in and just straight up bodies the whole track, as if he didn't exist at all, it it gives me a nice grin. Like, Jesus, Big Sean does not have the best luck of getting rappers that are more capable than him not owning the track. Well, the track Sacrifice, which has Migos, and what Migos do to kind of save the track in a way is actually talk about the sacrifices that they've made on that track. Sacrificing the thug life. I think Quavo comes in and outlines that someone sacrifices his career for a chain or something like that. They're legitimately talking about sacrifices. I also kind of like the weird and kind of off-kilter group vocal hook that's on their track. I think the one complaint I do have about Sacrifices, amongst all the complaints I do have about Sacrifices, is that it sounds like two different tracks. Big Sean does his thing and Migos do their thing, and they sound like they're rapping in two different lyrical compositions. What makes the album even more of a dud is the fact that there's a concept behind it, kind of. Big Sean seems to be talking about how he seems to be living in this fame and how he's kind of been ignoring his family, his girl, and all this other stuff for the indulgence of fame or whatever. And eventually he comes to the realization that it's not all that and everything's bigger than just him or whatever. It really is not that fleshed out or interesting. Big Sean is not a good enough lyricist to have a album that has this one running linear concept about it that compels me. It just isn't happening. I have no sympathy for Big Sean. I mean, I don't wish the worst for him or whatever, but there's nothing here that says, oh man, Big Sean, I feel so sorry for you. There's nothing here that relates to me. There's nothing here that is like, oh my god, I feel so compelled. I feel so uplifted. I empathize with the pain of Big Sean. It doesn't do that. There's a few that I think are decent, particularly the ones that are on the first half. Like the track Light, where he sounds kind of uplifting. I do feel like when the album starts, Big Sean is going to prep up the listener for some uplifting shit. That's then followed by Bounce Back, which throws the uplifting thing out the window, but he talks about how he took an L, but he bounced back. And he definitely shows a lot of capability when it comes to this kind of quadruplet slash triplet flows that a lot of trap rappers and a lot of other mainstream rappers here are using, and he definitely is capable of doing that. Plus he sounds coherent, so that's a plus. At least he's not sounding completely like Future. I guess the track No Favors as well, even if Eminem bodying the track is the only thing I return to the track for. And I guess the track Moves is okay too, even if it's brief and it feels like it's unfinished. Plus the hooks feels really sleepy and redundant. That's really it. There's nothing here, unfortunately, that makes me feel compelled to listen to it again or even like it or even think it's okay. This album isn't horrible, I just didn't find much of anything to report with this thing. You know, it just sounds like Big Sean is hopping on a lot of trends. He's sacrificing, ironically enough, a good chunk of identity that he had previously in favor for this. It kind of sounded like he tried to do this Drake, Travis Scott, in terms of conceptuality, a Kendrick Lamar type thing, and it just does not work out at all. If you are a Big Sean fan, I definitely would recommend you give this a try. There might be a few tracks that you like here. If you're not really a Big Sean fan, if you don't particularly care for this trap sound or this mainstream hip-hop sound, then you'll probably won't find anything here unless you're like a big fan of Eminem. Like the guy he seems to borrow a lot from, Drake, Big Sean needs to evolve. Big Sean needs to do something different. He needs to work on his lyricism a lot more, and he needs to come up with his own standalone sound, and maybe then I will actually recommend a Big Sean project. But as of right now, this isn't an album that I would recommend at all. This album is a negative 1.9 out of plus 3. I wanted to be a little optimistic about this album, but once I actually heard it, it became pretty much impossible. But if you give this album a listen, what'd you think of it? Did you like this album? Did you dislike this album? What was your reason for that? And what should I listen to and review next? This is CW Music Reviews here, signing off.